You know, it doesn't make any difference if you have religious beliefs or not. It doesn't make any difference what your political thoughts are. It makes no difference your age, your race, your social conditioning, religious conditioning, spiritual conditioning. It doesn't make any difference if you studied religion or spirituality. It makes no difference at all. When you sit here in this place and you quiet all the chaos that you leave at the door, and you come in and you just sit. And when you do that, and if it's possible for you to feel peace or joy or love or tranquility or the compassion or the loving energy from the person sitting next to you, you are feeling the presence of the divine in yourself, in this place, in the person next to you. And when you have the ability and that experience, when you feel that love or that peace or that joy, you are having a very sacred experience of awareness, the awareness of the divine. And all the other things going on in your life, it makes no difference. And so it is.
Wayne Dyer had an expression that he recycled a whole lot. It wasn't his. There's two people that it was attributed to. One was Pierre Teilhard de Chardin, and the other one was Gurdjieff. We are human, not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. And this saying was popularized by Wayne Dyer sometime in the 90s. The quotes where it was attributed to that other author came from some books that were printed about 1993 of the two possible sources. There's another quote I put in, I dredged up off the internet. It seems that we come into this world with an innate wisdom and knowing of our infinite and spiritual nature, but through our conditioning and just life as it unfolds, we forget who and how magnificent we really are. Nancy Collier put that in a blog in Psychology Today, July 6th of 2015. When you look into the eyes of a newborn before the medical team smears some ointment into the eyes that distorts the child's vision, I've recognized that there's a knowing, a connectedness, and every expression possible passes over the face of that child. And then thinking and conditioning gets in the way. Pat's fond of saying, I neglected to remember. When I hear someone needing to call God, essence, spirit, or guide to them, it reminds me of my son as a child losing sight of me when we were out and about. Oh, that wail of "Mommy!" with such desperation as he felt the loss of connection to those he held dear. I was there, not away, but just out of sight. His relief was immense as to be scooped up into my arms and to wipe away his tears as he had those great trembling sighs settling down from his separation anxiety. Spiritual connection is not something I need to call. It is here, just as I was for my child, perhaps beyond my vision, but nevertheless always here with me. That connection to this something is always active, ever vibrant, always dynamic. Sometimes in reawakening to the awareness of this wonderful power and radiance, stillness, or into the reawakening to the awareness of this wonderful power and radiance, stillness or reverent demeanor and practices allow me to remember, here it is. It is not so much that I need to call a power or presence as if it is distant and present. It is the sweetest reunion and to be here now in the present moment and realize that I am in the power, in the presence, I am at home. It was I who allowed myself to feel distance from the source, not source distant from me. I neglected to remember. This reunion is a homecoming. Welcome back, radiant beings. You are exactly where you're supposed to be, and it is good to have you here. Namaste.
Thank you very much, Sabrina. Good morning. With all the rain we had and all the rain we're going to get, I ordered today's special. It's just a really nice, beautiful day. There's a couple great things going on. In Katati, between noon and 3, the Katati Historical Society is having a thing. They're selling vintage books and some of Connie Martin's jams, and other ladies made it, but it's fruit that came from the Martin Ranch. They're selling some things in the Katati room. That's the hall right next to the police station. They're having tours of the museum. You can go to the museum. They've done some work in there, have some new displays. And then Damien, I forget his last name, the city manager, is running guided tours of the new house and stuff over here at Folletti Ridge. So, and it's free, everything's free. And so that's the Katati Historical Society from noon to 3. This week, Friday and Saturday evenings at 7 p.m. and Sunday at 3 p.m. there will be an off-the-page Readers Theater performances here. They're like $15 unless you don't have any money, then you can just come. And masks are required and a shot thing, immunization, proof of immunization thing. And Hillary and Kathleen are both in that group. And their theme for this show is called Detour, very interesting. And they're great readings, and it's all from local writers. And there's a flyer on the table here, and there's one on the bulletin board in the hall. Wednesday night, discussions on hiatus, vacation, sabbatical, whatever you want to call it, for a while. Thursday morning will be this coming Thursday at 10 a.m. in the hall, book study and spiritual discussion group. Then it's off for the 26th or 25th or something, because that's Thanksgiving, Turkey Day. Unless you want to come and bring the turkey leg and we'll sit around and talk, that's okay. Let's see, next Sunday, 9 a.m. is the board meeting, and our board moderator will give us plenty to work on and discuss that day, I'm sure. We're going to talk a lot about masks, I think, and that sort of thing. Any other messages, announcements? Yes, Serena.
It's just a friendly message from Emily that she sends her love, and she's settling well into her house, and she wanted to send her love to everybody here.
Good. Good. Thank you. Yes.
We need more people to sign up for flowers.
Oh, yes. I forgot to mention that last week, too. It'll be over in the hall, okay? And just sign up for flowers. And that's way more organized than when there's no sign up and people bring it. Some days we have 42 vases of flowers, and some days we have none. It's just easier if we kind of schedule it some. Any other announcements? Okay, this is a song. I picked it this morning because I knew Debbie was going to be our pianist, and she brought this song to us. And it's such a great song. Joy shall come in the morning. Let's stand up and sing. Well, this is the time when we get to greet each other. You know the drill.
How are you doing? Everything good? Oh, yeah. Chestnuts roasted? Yeah.
They just call it the Christmas song.
Yeah.
The bass part.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
But it's all over the place.
It is. That's actually not an easy song. It's not, and it's not easy to sing for singers.
Love your music.
Oh, thank you.
You wrote that song, Church Shall Come in the Morning? Is that what you said?
What's that?
You wrote that song, Church Shall Come in the Morning?
Yeah, I
It's
wrote
my
it.
favorite song.
But yeah, I used to play for another church, and somebody brought it in, so it's kind of it's past hands. But it was played.
Oh, I needed it. You really? You still are, baby? What do I owe you?
Song. It was written
Well, of course, that's what Emily did. She went broke.
after the Virginia Tech shooting. There was somebody that wrote this song in response to the Virginia Tech shooting. In 2007. Yeah.
How about a big deep breath? Don't let it out till I tell you. Has anybody should call 911? Maybe? Okay, yell it out. I'm going to talk a lot today about abundance, prosperity, and sharing. And it's like singing to the choir. You folks, you are abundance and you are prosperity. And there's a reason for that. Let's read the Affirmation of Abundance, please. When we transform abundance and prosperity from a perception to a consciousness, our lives will be enriched beyond any definition of tangible value. We will be that abundance and prosperity. May we ponder that. So. Thank you, Debbie. As we prepare ourselves for our practice, let's sing together in the stillness of the silence, number 97 in the words.
Morning. So we'll continue today our practice of settling into the heart, the high spiritual heart where our soul lives in these earthly forms. This essence is always there, but it grows in our experience when we put our attention on it. So that's what we'll do today together, once again, by invoking to ourselves in the way that speaks to us that love that we are. Just feeling it fill the room now. Filling your heart, your whole energy field. But that is who we are, this energy. Beloved, come. Beloved, come. Breathe it in. Breathe it out. Beloved, come. Really feel that energy sinking down through your feet into the center of the earth, grounding you into present time. God is now, beloved, come. And so it is.
Thank you, Natalie. Wade, would you make sure that Lee, right behind you, has an order of service, please? Living our purpose. I think it was Albert Schweitzer that said our purpose is to serve and to show compassion and have the willingness to help one another. Gandhi and Martin Luther King said that our purpose was to serve our fellow man. You have a very wise minister who has said for decades that the purpose, the reason for the human creature, our purpose is to be the caregivers of this planet, of each other. We talk as we enter a membership here, and as we affirm constantly our purpose, our goal is to share our time, our talent, our thought, and our treasure with each other. And again, it's like singing to the choir. You folks have shown great enthusiasm to learn more about sharing whatever it is you might have to share, your talent, your time, your thought, your treasure. You become very interested in the homeless situation, the crisis we have. Last week we had a little meeting about looking for other opportunities to volunteer. And today we are so much fortunate. I'm not going to have her come up just yet, but Lee, raise your hand. Lee Galton with the Council on Aging. She is the volunteer coordinator and recruiter. And she's going to have some things to talk to you about today. And after the service, I brought some donuts so it can be a healthy experience for all of us. We can go next door and have coffee and ask questions. And maybe Lee has some propaganda and stuff to hand out to us. I'm going to talk a little about the Council on Aging. I don't want to steal her thunder, but I've been sharing my little bit of stuff, a couple hours a week, for 15 years. And I'm going to tell you something, like it says in the first quote from the guy with three names, Ralph Waldo Emerson. I can't begin to describe how that little bit of service has enriched my life. You don't notice it at first, but it just, as you start and you just do your thing, it comes back to you in ways you can't even imagine. Back in the day, before Lee was had her job there was another lady that handled the volunteers. And this was back before we had the huge crises that we have now, before the county would burn up half of it every summer, and before we had COVID. It was the good old days when we just had normal crisis. And They asked me to speak one time as a motivational speaker at their employee retreat they had out at Laguna de Santa Rosa or something. That was an amazing experience for me. And then every year, back in the old days, they had what they called a volunteer appreciation banquet out at Shawnee Farms. And that's when I really learned something about this organization. When you walk into a room and there are 4, 5, 6, 700 volunteers, all those people volunteer to make all the different things this organization does. I don't know what they all are. I keep finding out more. Lee's going to talk about it. But when you have 600 people all sitting there that volunteer, you talk about feeling the presence. Oh my God. You feel presence like you can't imagine. Quite frankly, I went to like 5 or 6 of them. Every single time the following week, I had to learn how to cuss all over again. It was just, and I cuss for a reason, not like hell. I work at it because it's part of a balance thing I got going, very unique to me. But if you ever want to have a really odd conversation about my lifestyle choices, I'm up for that. But anyway, the we consciousness, that presence of compassion and taking care of each other, it just keeps getting better for me. I can't explain. Maybe I'm just partial, but I think that this organization is one of the finest, if not the finest, service organization to affiliate with in our county for the jobs, the things they do. And you want to feel the presence, you want an opportunity to feel what it's like to share your time, your talent, your thought, and your treasure. And this is more about your time and your talent and your thought than it is your treasure. And there's a reason this organization has worked. I've watched it. For 15 years, I've watched it. You can throw a lot of money at problems. Like the Meals on Wheels thing, when COVID hit, in 2 weeks' time, their need tripled. They never skipped a beat. Made it happen. Volunteers came out of the woodwork. It was crazy, but it happened. It never missed a stride. And the reason it's that human compassion, that love that is volunteered and given freely. That's why this organization, with all these volunteers, will always be able to rise to and handle the crisis that comes up. Lee Galton, come right on up here, young lady. Let's give her a round of applause, please.
Wow. I think he needs to come work for us.
Well, actually, I do,
know.
sort of.
You do. He's been around. I've been with Council on Aging for 8 years, and I had heard the legend that is you, and have had the pleasure of getting to know him and seeing the effect that he has on people. And you all know that well, but he's an amazing man. And what you said is, I'm tearing up in the back, and he's talking about our organization. So thank you all for welcoming me to this amazing place. This is beautiful. What a treasure you have here. Absolutely gorgeous. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Council on Aging and maybe ways that you can help, and also ways that if we can be of service to you. Council on Aging has been around since 65. We started as a direct result of the Older Americans Act. They found the need in Sonoma County to focus on seniors. And then in the 70s, they picked up the Meals on Wheels program, which you're probably all familiar with, the nationwide program. That is partially funded by the county, less and less every year. And so that's where we really rely on volunteers. And so the Meals on Wheels program is to housebound seniors over 60. So to qualify, you have to be over 60 and not drive anymore. And we deliver meals. Petaluma has their own Meals on Wheels, but we do Cotati to Guerneville and Cloverdale to Sonoma. So all of the rest of Sonoma County is covered through our Meals on Wheels program. And we have about 800 clients that we feed. We also deliver meals to Marin, but that's kind of a cargo down to Whistle Stop in San Rafael. We also have, as a direct result of COVID, when our dining sites had to close, we started a drive-up pickup program, and we have one at the Roanoke Park Senior Center every Wednesday where anybody over 60 can come through, drive through, and pick up 5 frozen meals, 5 pieces of fresh fruit, and a quart of milk. And so when COVID hit and our seniors couldn't come meet for lunch anymore, and then the county, everybody was saying, if you're over 65, stay home, we created this safe environment where we could get food to seniors. What we found is we've found a whole nother niche of seniors that are not being fed and not being taken care of solely because they drive. With Meals on Wheels, you can't drive. So we found that there was a lot of people that were food insecure, and we were able to help them stay healthier. That's one of the most common compliments we get with this drive-up pickup program is these people who are no longer able to cook for themselves or don't want to cook for themselves, or have issues with arthritis, that they're able to eat healthy meals because all the meals are regulated. They're all low salt, low fat, high fiber, high vegetable content. And so they're healthier now because they just microwave this meal, eat their fresh fruit, and instead of eating, Hungry Man Salisbury steak or something like that, they're eating our healthy meals. And so their doctors are thrilled, and it's been great. And then we also have reopened our communal dining sites. So every Tuesday, Thursday at the Roanoke Park Senior Center, you can come on down and have a hot meal with us. There is a huge need for social interaction, and so we are opening 12 of those all over the county to help encourage seniors to come in and join each other. So between the Meals on Wheels, the drive-up pickup, the communal dining sites, we have all these great options for our community to be fed, to be appreciated, and to mingle if that's what they want to do. So as to what he's saying, all of those programs require a ton of volunteers. The Meals on Wheels, the one meal for Meals on Wheels costs about $7.50 between making the meal and delivering the meal. And the county gives us about $3.50. And so all of that leftover is made up by contributions from the clients. When you're on Meals on Wheels, we do ask you to contribute if you can. Contributions through whatever program we have, and then fundraising. Where we save the most money is the volunteers, that we have this amazing workforce of volunteers that come in every day, every week, and feed those seniors. And so that's kind of, I'm the volunteer coordinator, and that's kind of what I do is try to encourage people in whatever capacity they can to help. I got a little confused with the time change this morning. I left all my propaganda at home, but I do have my card. And but all our Meals on Wheels programs, the dining sites, the drive-up pickups, they all require volunteers. We also have, if that kind of work is not your thing, we have senior peer support counseling, which is an amazing program for seniors over, you have to be over 55. You're trained by our licensed clinical social worker. It's a 12-week program. you come into our office and you learn this training, and then you become a peer counselor to mostly our Meals on Wheels clients who are suffering from depression and isolation. And so you counsel them for 12 weeks, whether you go visit them now that COVID restrictions are being a little bit lifted, or over phone calls, and you help them work out some issues. And you're their peer, and so you can kind of help them get through some tough times and learn some tricks. It's not designed to be long-term therapy, and we're not dealing with people with extreme mood disorders or anything like that, but it's a bit more of a targeted, friendly visitor kind of thing. The program you've been most involved with is our day program.
Yes.
Yes, and so we have an amazing day program, day respite program for seniors who suffer cognitive issues. Caregivers can drop them off and get a bit of a respite themselves. And so we have in Santa Rosa, Sebastopol, and in Healdsburg, we have those day programs. He's always the entertainment in your band. And so if you have any talent as far as music or singing or crafts or anything like that, think about, like, if your preschool age kids would love it, then our day program residents would love it as well. And dancing and whatever. We have some belly dancers that come out, and just family friendly. She says not hoochie, but family friendly belly dancing, and just whatever you have to give a smile and to bring some joy to these seniors. That program is really in desperate need right now. For the community needs to recognize that this issue of dementia and Alzheimer's is such a growing issue, and nobody wants to take care of it. The Catholic Charities just closed their program. We have no programs for low-income seniors who have cognitive issues and their caretakers. And so we do a great job at Council on Aging, but we can't grow that. We need to just keep making more and more space for that. But as far as volunteering goes, I'm so blessed to work with these volunteers, and a lot of them at first are apprehensive. It's awkward. Maybe it's like starting a new job a little bit, and maybe their partner or their spouse says, you got to get out of the house and do something, and I get these tough people coming in and say, I'm just going to drive, and I'm just going to drive, and I'm going to get to their door, and I'm going to drop it off, and hello, and we ask that you drop it off. It's more than a meal. It's a hello. It's a friendly hello. It's a how are you? And then the next thing you know, these tough, nervous exterior people, they're telling me how these clients are changing their lives and making a difference. And nobody has a goal in life to end up to be a Meals on Wheels client, and but everybody deserves to have a friendly hello and a healthy meal served to them. And I've learned so many life lessons from the people I get to see every day. It's just a blessing. And so if any of you have any sort of if you're thinking about stepping out of your comfort zone and getting involved in something, please come reach out to me, and I'll walk you through it. We'll go visit together, whatever it takes, and see if it's a good fit for you. A happy volunteer is one where the volunteering fits into their life versus you feeling guilty like you have to do something. So if any of these programs I've mentioned at all sound interesting, my contact information is so nicely on the bottom of this, and I also have a card. We have a website that talks about all the different opportunities there, but I'd love to talk with anybody about it, and thank you for your time.
Well, thank you for being here, Lee. Thank you very much. That she was just talking about, some people said, yeah, I'll deliver meals for 2 hours or 3 hours twice a week. Oh, that's fine. Whatever you can do, they can custom fit things for you. They can make it work for you, because right now there's huge challenge in our county, huge. So, but what she said, you see these tough guys, yeah, I'm just going to do this. I'll be doing my thing for my community, go drop them off. And they wind up having relationships with these people. And they say, hello, how you doing? They kind of check them out and see if they're looking okay, if they've like maybe washed themselves lately, or if they look sick, or maybe have a fever, or acting very depressed or funny or upset. And they come back and they tell the folks at the council, you might want to send an actual person over and have a little talk, and they do that. And what that is, that's living our purpose. That's connecting with our fellow human beings, that's sharing our compassion, our empathy, our love, our care and concern. And over again, I'm going to tell you, you get so much more out of it than you give. I am so lucky. I love playing music and showing off more than anything else in the world, I think. And 15 years ago, I started playing guitar with Ava Grail over at Sebastopol. Since then, Ava still plays just Sebastopol. But I've got a whole group of people, Sylvan, all know Sylvan, Gil. Debbie's played with us out at Oakmont a couple times. But we do Healdsburg and Oakmont and Sonoma and Santa Rosa and Sebastopol. And then on top of that, we actually go to our one guitar player, Dave. His brother is a resident at Creekside. And Yvonne is now a resident at Clearwater. And our band's been playing Clearwater since they opened a year and a half ago. And it's like, it's when, I'll tell you a story. Maybe you've heard it before, but I'm going to tell you again. Part of what this does, what I see that it does when people are stomping their foot or moving their head or singing along. Or there was a lady that just passed away. She passed away about a month and a half before her 100th birthday. She went to the Sebastopol Club. 99 years old. She'd get up and dance to the song. Go get guys out of the group at the table. Get up and dance. And at the end of the show, she'd always come up and tell me naughty jokes. She thought it was so funny. And she'd repeat the punchline 4 or 5 times. And you heard me talk about Helen. She's 103. We did her birthday party. Went out to her house at Oakmont and did 100th, 101st, 102nd, 103rd. I asked her, Helen, I said, what's the best part about being 103? She said, oh, that's easy. No peer pressure. But I think one of the things that will let you know what this hour or two a week sharing your humanity, living your purpose can do. I just started playing over in Sonoma 7 years ago, 8 years ago, maybe 9 years ago. And a lady by the name of Laurel ran that day program. And so I think at that time, some of you might remember Steve that played dobro with our band. He lived in Sonoma, so he went over and played with me. And there were probably 10 people, clients at this day respite program. And Laurel standing in the back, and we'd always play from 11 till 12, and then they'd have lunch. So it was about 11:15, and we played 3 or 4 songs. And they kind of sat in a circle around us. And there was a gentleman sitting in a chair, and he had a walker right by his chair. But he gets up, walks over, puts his arm around me and says, man, that's the best damn music I've heard in years. I said, well, thank you very much. And he just shook his head and went over and sat down. And I looked at Laurel, and she was, come to find out after that hour was over, this fellow had not taken a step without his walker in over 5 years. But the real thing, he had not spoken a word in those 5 years. Not one word. He never talked to me after that. He didn't live much longer. But after I'd play a few songs, I'd say, hi, how are you? He'd always say hi. And there again, he had never spoken since to anyone or before. When you realize what that hour of time, what that hour of compassion and sharing can represent in someone else's life, they don't feel, the people you are volunteering for cannot feel as much satisfaction, as much realization of how wonderful each one of us truly is. We put ourselves down so much. We get stuck in the same old, same old. And we are incredible beings, spiritual beings, capable of changing lives in just an hour a week, 2 hours a week. We can change lives without doing hardly anything at all, just showing up and helping fill up juice glasses and pass out Meals on Wheels at the table. Another thing, there is a lady who used to run the Santa Rosa program. Her name is Brittany Smith. Brittany was probably one of the only directors that could ever get me. You know, I'm pretty quick, and I've always got to come back, and I don't care how ornery or naughty I'll match you every time. She left me speechless. She could mess with me like nobody I've hardly ever met. And we just became really good friends, and her husband were the same way. And Brittany has some sort of disease, and it's kind of like something between Lou Gehrig's and MS. And she finally had to quit volunteering at Santa Rosa, and she moved to Arizona. Her husband got a job in Arizona. They've since moved to Denver. And my birthday is on the 4th, and hers on the 9th of November. I got an email from her. We always come in contact on Christmas and our birthdays. And she's not doing all that great. So I called Laurel and Roxanne, who knew her, and they're going to give her a call on her birthday. But Brittany, what she did in running these respite programs, these day programs, I have a stack, literally a stack that high, of handmade birthday cards for me from the clients, the people that attend these programs. For weeks, she'd bring magazines, they'd cut out and pictures and glue them on cards and cut out words and write on them and made me and my bandmates birthday cards, Valentine's Day cards, Christmas cards. And I don't know how much those crafts did for those people, but I know how much those crafts did for me. Council on Aging gives each human being in this county an opportunity to not only help where there is need, but to enrich your life in ways you can't imagine. I promise you. And when you share that little bit, a wee little bit, you are bringing light into maybe a pretty dark place. We sing this song all the time. Let's sing it today, knowing that when we share whatever it is we choose to share, we are bringing light. Sometimes it might be like a big strobe light. Sometimes it might be like a little penny candle. But when we share whatever it is that is us, we are living our purpose and we are shining light. Let's shine our little light, shall we? And Lee, thank you again for being here. Please join us next door with some coffee.
You want me to leave this here for you?